series on what it takes to be 2-5, 3-0, 3-5, 4-0, 4-5, 5-0. And that will finish that discussion. In the NTRP, there's a rating system that goes from 2.0 to 7. 7 being like Pete Sampras, Roger Federer. 2.0 being a guy who can hold a racket, has a serve and a forehand. 2.5 would be hold a racket, has a serve and a forehand, and maybe has a backhand, but not very consistent. 3.0 means you can serve efficiently, you have a forehand that works, and you have a backhand sort of. 3.5 means you're starting to be more consistent, you can hit the ball, you're not just hitting the ball in the middle of the court, you're going corners, you definitely have a stronger side, you have a decent second serve, you know how to volley. Okay. 4.0 means you have a forehand and a backhand, you're really consistent on both sides, you have spin, you can slice, you can top spin, you have a decent serve that can win points, you have the second serve, but you don't really know how to attack. And that's how, the biggest difference between 4.0 and 4.5, and that's what people have a hard time, they argue with me a lot, I play 4.0 and da-da-da. But the actuality is like, if you watch someone like a certain volleyer like me play, my ground strokes are mediocre at best. But my certain volley game is really effective, you know. So the difference between 4.0 and 4.5 is, can you win a point? And how do you win a point? Like a 4.5 player normally has a shot or a weapon or a combination of shots and weapons. For example, you can be 4.5 and be really consistent and get everything back. So when the person comes to the net, you can pass them and you can hit lobs, you know how to dipping shots there at net to volley. That makes you 4.5. You might not be explosive, you don't have an explosive shot. But on the other side of that, you might have a person with an explosive forehand and no backhand, but his serve and his forehand is so big that he wins all his points. That makes him a 4.5 also, okay? And then to take a step down again to 4.0, well, what's the difference then? A 4.0 can very rarely serve volley because it takes too many shots. You have to hit a good first serve, you have to hit a good first approach volley, then you have to hit a put-away volley, and then you have to hit a lob, an overhead, right? 4.0 generally can't maintain that kind of play under duress, under pressure, okay? And that's the biggest difference. And then people are like, well, what about the 3.5? The 3.5 player cannot attack. They can get the ball back. If you hit the ball to them, they get the ball back. You put them on the run, they can't get the ball back. You know, you attack their backhand, they just hit a weak shot back, or they miss completely. The 4.0, when you hit to their backhand, they'll get the ball back, but you can put it away. The 4.5, when you hit to their backhand, they're going to do something with the ball and put you in pressure. The hard part is when you watch someone play a match, focusing on certain shots is very difficult to quantify what you are. The 5.0 player, as opposed to the 4.5 player, can hurt you off both sides. Off the backhand, off the forehand, rarely makes mistakes. If you hit the ball to them, they rarely make a mistake. They can hit on the run, you know. And then when you get to 5.0, 5.5, you're talking about open level. And that varies from state to state. That's really wide and varied. Because, for example, in Hawaii, the 5.0 player, there is no 5.0. So once you're 5.0, you're pretty much open. I played 5.0 league against Tribler, this guy named Tribler. And he also won the Open Professional Doubles Tournament. And he played for HPU, but he was a 5.0. You see, it's kind of like, huh? In Hawaii. And then you go to like some place like Michigan, and the 5.0 guys are all teaching pros and ex-MSU players. You know, they play for state, and they're all in their 20s, 25, you know. So age plays a small factor, okay? So what we're talking to you now is we're going to give you a brief overview of why it's so complicated. And I'm going to do a series on this, and I'm going to try to find some video and break people down and try to give a clear rating. The issues can come up when you talk about different states. Like, for example, when we went to nationals from 91 to like 2001. And we kind of went every year. But we went for mixed doubles, we went for men's, we went for, mixed doubles and men's. But what you see happening is the last decade, wow, it's hard to say. The last decade, they've changed the rating system. It's no longer you hit while someone watches you and gives you a rating. Now it's you go out and you play and you rate yourself based on a series of questions. And that's really kind of iffy. And so what the people have done is they played the system. So in Hawaii, all the 5.0s are 4.5s. You know, and all the 5.5 guys that used to be 5.5 are now 5.0s, you know, or they're coming down. And everybody comes down, because now it's more of a dynamic rating system where it changes from match to match. So I go back home, I'm rate myself 4-0. I kill my first guy. I played 4-0, like 6-0, 6-0. And you think, wow, that's no big deal. But it is a big deal. Because what happens is they compare my rating against his rating. So not only do I beat him 6-0, 6-0, but I become compared to everyone else he's played. And that's what they mean by dynamic system. So if he's a highly ranked 4-0 that's gone like 10-0 in season, and I beat him 6-0, 6-0, I'm too good to be 4-0. You know, and that's how the system works. It's sort of like golf. You kind of gotta be honest, but it's kind of dishonest. You know, if I lose a couple matches here and there, I can stay down. And for the NTRP system, that happens a lot, where people get to a point where, you know, I'm 4-5. If I don't practice, I'm 4-5. If I play a lot, I'm 5-0. I mean, I have to play a lot, and I have to go out and practice like 3-4 times a week and practice. And I have to play other 5-0s, and that's the hard part. I'm 5-0, yeah, if I play with other 5-0s and doubles, we're all 5-0. But you put me with some 4-5 guys, and I'm playing 4-5 guys, you can't really tell. You know, I have more of a complementary game. I'm a setter, I'm not a finisher. My game's not very flashy. You know, and so when you look at individual play and you try to judge where they are, it's very difficult. So what's my point? My point is, it's very difficult to tell the rating system. I'm going to do a series of videos to talk about the rating system and show you what I think the different ratings are. It will be difficult for me to do the lower levels because I don't have friends that are that low, but I can probably do 4